This is a quick video just to show you different operating systems. Operating systems control interactions between the user and the computer. These days they're mainly graphic user interfaces like this one. This is the Mac operating system. It has icons, drop-down menus. It has the mouse, which enables you to move around and point and click at things. This is a common feature amongst all graphical user interfaces with operating systems. However, it's not always the case, as we shall see later. So let's take a look at another operating system. They all do slightly different things. If I can get this going. There we go. Here I've got, this is called a virtual box. So what it will allow me to do is to run different operating systems on the Mac. As you can see down the left hand side, I've got a few operating systems: XP Pro, Vista, Windows 7, Server 2003 and Linux. So I'll take you through one or two of these. I don't really think I need to go through Vista and Windows 7. In school you're using Windows 7, so you're quite familiar with the operating system as it is. However, I'll probably be going through XP Pro. It's a little old, but it will allow us to do a few things later on that are possibly not available in Windows 7 or any other operating system. And finally, we've got this Linux system, which I will briefly show you, and we will take a look in a little more detail at the back end of Linux later. So let's take a look at XP. So if I can get this started. So XP is one of the earlier versions of Windows. It's now sort of defunct, so Windows or Microsoft are no longer supporting it, so there's no updates available for Windows XP. If you have this system, you have to be careful. You could get a virus or something else like that, because there's nothing there to protect you from incoming stuff. However, it's very similar to Windows 7, as you can see. Again, we have icons on the desktop. We have a mouse, we have a background screen, and we have a menu which will enable us to run applications. These are all applications. All the icons lead to applications. It's software that will run inside the operating system, not the only kind, which we shall see later. So I've got Microsoft Word, I've got my email, Office Outlook, I've got Notepad++. They are all applications. And the same applications will run in different operating systems. So that is XP. Let's close that one down. The next one I want to show you is going to be, just close these down quickly. I get one or two errors. The next one that I would like to show you is Server 2003. So this is Server 2003. It is an operating system which is Windows based. However, it is a little bit different to Windows XP or Windows 7 or Windows 10. All of those operating systems are designed to run on your home computer, on a standalone computer, not attached to anything else. You could attach it, but it's designed not to. Server 2003 is designed to run 24/7, 365 days a year. It's not used to being shut down. And what it is some software like you would use in school. It's the computer or the operating system that is responsible for managing all of the school's computers. So if I just start it up, we can have a quick look at it. It requires logging on, just as your school computer requires logging on. So when you log on to your school computer, really you are logging on to a similar, probably wouldn't be Server 2003, it would be a later version. And the server can have lots of different roles. If I just click on this one, add or remove a role, we can see all the different kind of roles that the server can take. So first of all, it connects to, let's say, inside the school, 60 computers. So one piece of software is controlling 60 computers. And it can have different roles. This one is set up to be a file server. So when you save your files on the school computer, it will not save it on the machine you're sitting at, but will save it to this this system. And this is the graphical user interface to manage that system. So we could have it as a file server, we could have it as a print server, so when you print something it first comes to here before it goes to the printer. We could have it as an application server. What that would mean is that all of the programs like Microsoft Word that sit on your computer don't need to be on your computer. You can have a really low powered machine and have all of the applications on this machine, and when you double click on Word, instead of it loading from your computer, it would load from this computer. This can also be a mail server, so you can use it as a sort of post office where you can send and receive mail from and deliver it out to computers. There's lots of different kinds of computers. Domain controller is pretty much what you use inside the school. What that is therefore is to control all user logins. So it will contain your username and your password, and it will keep your files secure. So there's a lot of different roles that this server can take. It's not just a computer that you would use, and to that end it really isn't a very good sort of standalone machine. It's not very good graphically, so the graphics are very basic. The sound is either very basic or non-existent because it's just really taking charge of other computers. And we will look at this server a little bit later on, particularly when we look at networks and administrating networks. So that's Server 2003. So let's shut that one down. Another difference is when you shut down, rather than it just shutting straight down, because it's not used to being shut down and it's meant to run 24/7, it doesn't like being shut down, and you have to give a reason why you are shutting it down, whether you're doing some maintenance to the hardware, or whether you're reconfiguring the operating system, or whether there's a security issue and you need to reboot the machine. You really need to give a reason why you're shutting the machine down. So it's not often that we shut a server down. The last one I want to look at is Linux. So while we start this up, I'm also going to explain that there are a couple more operating systems which I'm not going to show you at the moment, and you use them all the time. So your phone has an operating system, iOS. It has the same sort of thing. It has a way of selecting items, pressing items. It shows windows. You can move things around. You've got a mouse, which is really your finger on the screen, and it's got different menus in there as well. So when you sort of go to settings, you get a list of items. That's a menu. So your phone is an operating, or has an operating system. If you're on Apple, iOS. If you're on a Samsung phone, you're probably running the Android operating system. And there's a few more as well. So operating systems are really there as a visual guide, a graphical user interface to control your computer. This is the last one that I want to look at, called Linux. It might take a while to start up. Linux is an older system. It's quite powerful. It used to run networks really well. There we go. We've got a Linux system up. Often it's not graphical. Often it's a command line interface, which I will show you at some point when we deal with command line interfaces. But it's different again, as you can see. Each time you move from one operating system to another, you might have different things to learn, but essentially they're the same. They will have icons. There's no icons on my desktop, but there are some quick selection icons here. This is Linux's version of Word, Excel and PowerPoint. This is the file store. But generally, like I said, Linux is mainly command line interface. This is the operating system that you would probably find in a Raspberry Pi. It's not as straightforward as Windows or a Mac, although it's closely related to a Mac in language. But it is very powerful and quite good at networking. So this is our Linux system, and this one's called Ubuntu. There's lots of different versions of it. So that's a quick overview of the different operating systems that we have.